He's our vice chair, Wes. He's actually lives in Denver, but works in Chicago, and he is part of our executive committee. Louis?
Thank you. So I'll tell you what, it is great being here, and I told Jose I wanted to make a few comments about Joe Dominguez. So, you know, Joe was, president and CEO of ComEd, and so I had the great opportunity of working with him on different energy policy issues in Illinois. It's a tough state. It's a tough state from energy policy perspective. And it was great just to watch him as he operated and particularly testified in several of the energy committees, and how he always maintained his composure even though he was beat up terribly. So I really appreciate that. I've learned a lot from Joe. And then as he became our chair of HIE, I thought, this is great. I get to work with him in 2 different capacities, and then he leaves the state and goes on to Constellation. So the good thing is he is our chair of HIE, and I still get to work with him. And so I am so proud to be able to say a few words on Joe, because he's a great guy. So you want me to bring him up, or you
Yeah.
Okay, so with that, why don't you come on up, and then
Yeah.
you want to go ahead and make that presentation?
Yes. Joe became CEO for Constellation Energy, a Fortune 100 energy company in the United States. And not only that, but one of the cleanest in the country. And so Joe is not only a leader in our community, he's a leader in the industry. And we're just very delighted with his ascension, and even more delighted that he's the chairman of our board of directors. And so Joe would give you this small token of recognition on behalf of your friends on the board, and congratulations for your ascension.
I'll do the photos in a minute. It's very nice to be here, and so nice to receive this award. Look, it's always wonderful to get recognition, but it's a lot better when you get it from friends. And what brings us all together is far more important than recognizing me or Deanna's remarkable success. I'm so happy to finally get a chance to meet you. She is such a rock star in the utility business, and having a Latina in the utility business, just another round. I get to work with her CEO, who's a wonderful man, and you know, it's just watching what you were doing in Louisiana is an inspiration to all of us. So it's a tough state. You know, we talked about Illinois. Louis talked about getting beaten up in Illinois, and that's certainly true. But Louisiana is not for the faint of heart either. And so, congratulations. It's a remarkable time, I think, for HIE. There were inflationary pressures in the energy markets, and we saw that coming into this winter. And a number of us thought that if we got through the winter and it wasn't a challenging winter, prices would come down, but they really didn't for our customers. And then we had the situation in the Ukraine, which I think reminds us that energy policy is national security policy, it's American family policy. And we have a lot of things that we need to do in the energy sector. We need to deal with the climate crisis and work through this great big energy transition that both presents an opportunity and a challenge for America, and a challenge for folks to just be able to afford it. You know, our thing in the energy business is to be able to provide reliable, affordable, and clean electricity. And we see the pressures on affordability every day. You're seeing that as families are struggling to cover the bills. And unfortunately, with what's occurred with the Russian aggression in Ukraine and the unfortunate circumstances there, is that natural gas and coal prices are going to be at record levels for years to come. And Louis knows better than I do on the natural gas front. But we have seen, I'll give you some numbers so you have some relative sense of this. We have seen natural gas prices go from a forecasted average of about $2.60 a unit, doesn't matter what the unit is, to something that's over $6 today. And when you think that natural gas sets the price of electricity, because we use natural gas to power the generation resources that set the price of natural gas, the supply is doubled in cost. And in places like England, where I traveled about a month and a half ago, we are seeing price shock where utility bills are doubling just this month, threatening recessionary pressures across the nation. And here in the U.S., we're going to see the very same thing. It's going to have a little bit of a delayed reaction to it. And it's going to call on all of us to question whether or not we're committed to the energy transition as utility bills tighten. We're going to wonder whether we have the money to do things like wind and solar energy and the other things that will help us battle the climate crisis. So the challenge of our time in the energy business is to figure out a way to transition the sector, but to do it in a way that doesn't break the bank for families. And a lot of those families are Latino families living on the edge. So when you think about the advocacy of our group, and I think the agenda that Jose and his team have put together is really focused on both the crisis and the opportunity that we face together. At Constellation, we're the nation's leading clean energy company. About 1 in every 10 megawatts of clean energy is produced by our company. And, you know, I think if you produce 10% of anything in America, whether it's toothpicks or whatnot, you're a pretty big deal. But at this point, we produce 10% of electricity that doesn't have an air pollution component. That's a pretty big thing. We produce a third, we're the third largest energy producer as a whole, any kind of source, clean or otherwise. So we're seeing the impacts here on our customers. We also serve, we're the leading server of energy to America's Fortune 100 companies. About 75% of those companies depend on Constellation for their gas and electricity.